Get ready to dive into the comic book realm where heroes rise and villains take the helm. We're here to dissect the stories and the art. Our source material, we tear the panels apart.
Well, let's get into issues 5 through 8 of Lois Lane. All right. So we left off. Lois Lane is investigating all sorts of things, as a matter of fact. We got all sorts of crazy stuff going on. She's got a friend of hers, acquaintance of hers, got murdered over in Moscow, fellow journalist. There's also some crazy stuff going on where the questions come back. The original question, not Renee Montoya, but Vic Sage, Charles Zaz. He's back. I'll just go ahead and do the synopsis real quick, and then we'll kind of get into the questions. So Lois flies to Washington, D.C. She ends up running into one of her fans. I'll put that in quotes. That reminds her of the immense responsibility reporters bear to uphold truth in an era of misinformation. Little does Lois know, her ally Renee Montoya is hot on the trail of those responsible for the assassination attempt of Daniel Agger. That's right. I forgot to mention that. She watched a man who she was investigating some kind of kickback thing, and turns out one of the partners she was going to meet with ends up getting killed right in front of her. So Renee infiltrates a gang of hired guns and, donning her question persona, extracts a confession that the order came from Agger's corrupt business partner, Larry Shaw, in a hit to silence him, and also so that Lois would not get any additional information. But Lois admonishes Renee and her coercive tactics, unwilling to compromise her principles even for her own safety. A melancholy turn takes Lois home. This is issue 6. This was interesting because they threw this issue in during the aftermath of an event called Event Leviathan, which was a strange name, but that was why issue 6 kind of felt jarring, because she goes home after her father has passed away. And he apparently had passed away during this event. And amidst the grief, she reminisces on the tumultuous relationship that she had with her father. Her youthful defiance, their clashes over her involvement with Superman. There's a bittersweet reunions cut short, leaving Lois to ponder whether he ever really truly accepted her husband's heroic identity. Across the pond, remember, there's some strange stuff going on over in England. A mysterious and troubled young woman named Jessica Midnight escapes from a mental institution along with sister Clarice, convinced that nefarious forces are pursuing her. Her path seems fated to intersect with Lois's escalating battles. And those battles take a shocking turn when a disguised assassin infiltrates Lois's home, which is actually a hotel room, detonating some explosions. Though Renee and Lois manage to drive off their attacker, it's clear their lives are in danger, grave danger, from terrifying new adversaries. Even as Superman offers his protection, once again, he's like, hey, Lois, look, I can help you here. The fiercely independent Lois rebuffs him, determined to confront this threat through her own resolve and journalistic powers. But how far will she have to go to expose the truth? So there you go. That's issues 5 through 8. You got a lot of commentary there, Mark, about the journalistic integrity. And we've already talked about it in the previous episode. But again, when we open up issue 4 and she runs into that person, which I don't know if she was a plant or what the hell was going on, but I could tell there was some commentary about misinformation, what people believed was actual news, and, well, why can't somebody else just make up something? Why don't other journalists? But you're not that journalist, right, Miss Lane? No, I'm not that journalist. Well, other journalists can make up anything they want, apparently. What are your thoughts there?
Just thinking about season 5 of The Wire, where you have the Templeton, who is the Jason Blair stand-in, and he writes a story to go along opening day for the Orioles. And they're okay, this is a great story. Do you have any art? Do you have a picture? Do you have anything? And the kid was not cooperative. And they go out of their way to try to find them. Because you can't just make up bullshit. And it's an interesting thing because the whole profession of journalism sort of stands on a house of cards. If everyone doesn't follow the rules, if you don't source your stuff, if you can't build a story around verifiable truths, the whole thing falls apart. Look what happened just in the last few years. Again, as I brought it up in the last episode, I'm going to bring it up here again, but slightly different. Donald Trump going, we have you dead to rights. We have you dead to rights on very many things. We have all this evidence, and he's just like, that's all fake news. How many people, because they have such distrust of the media, are what he said? Like, he had no proof of anything. Things, Biden stole the election and all this other crap. and they wanted to believe it. They don't. The elements of this country don't. The Democrats, they don't. Progressive, they don't. Anything having to do with the liberal agenda. And so another guy comes up and he says any old bullshit, and they'll believe it. And because the press is associated with the left more so than the right, even though there's elements of both on both sides, people are willing to throw the entire profession of journalism into the river.
Oh yeah,
and join in the chant of it's all fake news. It's all Jason Blair. It's all Scott Templeton. It's all made up BS. And there's poor reporters out there doing God's work of, it's not an easy thing to be a reporter. It is easy to just make shit up. It is easy to say the country is being run by aliens who molest children or whatever the stupid thing is, QAnon, whatever the nonsense is. It's easy to just make that shit up because the truth is so much harder for people to believe. I love him to death, but our friend Gavin, who's very prone to believing conspiracy theories, it's a lot easier for me to believe the simple truth than it is this complex fucking conspiracy that you concocted.
Right.
So some people, they so badly want their thoughts and opinions validated that they're willing to join in any old stupid chant. And so just focusing back on journalism in this comic book, that character was very much a stand-in for that belief, but it's not as strong as it could have been because she should have attacked Lois. That conversation was a little too nice by half. She should have been, instead of saying, "Oh, but that's not you, Miss Lane." Well, I think you're full of shit. How about that? I think you're fucking Superman. I really think she should have gone at her. I'm doing the right thing, but this person associates me with all the other people that don't do the best job of journalism. They're not sourcing their stuff. They are making things up. And just, but that's the thing is I don't love the way that whole interaction goes down, and I'm not entirely. And the thing is, I also don't think it goes anywhere.
I don't think it does either.
She's not at any point struggling in the story with I think it was the Lex Luthor book maybe that we did not that long ago. It was either Luthor or something else, I feel, where she had him dead to rights, but she couldn't report it because she didn't have sources or something like that. Nothing on the record. She had a story, but she didn't have enough on the record for it to be print. And she's screaming at the top of her lungs at Perry, please, but it's the truth. We should just get the word out there. And it's like, nah, follow the rules. Sorry. And I think I said that at the time. There's a sense of entitlement sometimes that goes with Lois where she's just like, but I know what the truth is, and that's all that matters. No. The rules matter. Once you stop attending to the pillars of social contracting, your society fucking falls apart. Now it's Mad Max times.
There's a point in the book where she confides in Clark. It's after this interaction where she confides in Clark / Superman about how she wonders, and I think this might be the point of this whole interaction. She wonders if all the shit that she goes through is even worth it. And you have to think to yourself, if you are a journalist, you could report all the truth you want.
My God, could you imagine being someone today? So we have our friends in a group chat who some of us, I can't make a rule and enforce it. I can just shame people and make fun of them or ignore them. And it's the only way. It is the only thing keeping that chat from Mad Max times. So I tend to share stuff, and I'll share stuff from known periodicals, Variety. Some of the plugs or some of the rather blogs, if I choose Movie Web. Are they the New York Times? No, but they're the stuff that they aggregate or whatever. It's pretty close to facts. So I'm confident when I reshare stuff from Movie Web, but most of the time I'm sharing from Variety or the Hollywood Reporter, and then the only other stuff I share is Psych News, Psychology Today, and a lot of their stuff is literally just drawn from studies, and they have a link to the original study. But we have people in our chat who, because they want something to support their anti-left beliefs, anti-left agenda, they want to believe, or they are trying to purposely stir up. We have some right people, we have some left people in the Rattlers and Broadcasting Network, and then we have some trolls in the middle to try to make them fight. And then the idiots on both sides take the bait every single time. And so what ends up happening is one or two of the trolls find an article from somewhere that was just liberals want you to kill your babies. And I'll click on the article. And I'll click on the article and be like, I have to go to 2 to 3 different places to find the original source. And the original source was the babies want you to kill baby spiders. It's like, once you've dug into it, the whole implication falls apart. And it's just like, that would take me 30 seconds. And you've seen me do it. If you've paid attention to the chat when this has happened with this one particular person, I'll be like, hey, stop putting stuff in here without you clicking the links to find out if it's actually true, you moron. That took me 30 seconds in a Google search to unpack this and deconstruct it. And that's sometimes also what happens. Somebody throws something in the chat and it's just the worst thing ever. Everyone in the Marvel universe will be gay and on fire. All right, let me go ahead.
Let me confirm.
This came from baiting conservatives alt.net. I don't know if that's a trusted source.
No.
Then I dig into it and it's this is all bullshit. So that's, again, imagine you're a professional journalist with integrity. That's what you're up against.
You've got to now try. I mean, how do you convince people that the truth is the truth? It's so almost impossible. And may I say that AI is going to make things even harder. I mean, I'm sure you've heard, and I'm not just trying to shoehorn AI into this, but now we're getting into this election cycle.
Dog with a bone you are.
Well, the thing is that with the election cycle that's coming up, I mean, that is a big fear. They are afraid that they are going to be.
Here's the problem.
Back in the day, you could be a journalist.
We have this picture. It looks as true as days young of Donald Trump fucking a donkey.
Yep.
And half of the country won't care. I'm sure half of the country will say the donkey was asking for it. That donkey was that donkey was way suggestive. What could a man do?
Oh,
the donkey didn't want to get fucked in the ass by an old man. Shouldn't have walked down that part of New York City.
We are a horrible lot. That's sad, man. I mean, because the thing is what you're saying is true. That is the way our society is now. They will see things, and because they can see it with their own eyes and it's on their screen, it's not like we're changing what's been going on for the last 20 years anyway. If they see it with their own eyes on a screen, and somebody says, let me apply context to this, and it's completely not the context, but they'll believe every little bit of it as long as it supports their narrative, as long as it supports what they believe in. And I mean, this whole interaction on this plane, it's a great place a great thing to talk about, because it's definitely a struggle for a journalist to just be like, we can't just make up things. Well, why can't you?
I think the last time we talked about journalism, I brought this up, but the Drudge Report. So there's this guy, he built the blog. The blog is made up of links to other links to news articles. But the value of the Drudge Report was that he tended to gather up stuff from websites that were counter to the mainstream left-leaning liberal media. So he became the cause célèbre of conservatives. People love the Drudge Report. People treated Matt Drudge, and Matt Drudge got it in his head that he was an actual reporter. This motherfucker went around Washington, D.C. in a hat with a little card in it that said press.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. He did as much journalism as we're doing, but he had a website that had links to it. There was an episode of South Park where they lose the internet, and he was like, and one guy just yells across the screen, "I can't get to the Drudge Report. I don't know what's going on." Robert has a great line about news. Yes, Robert has a great line about people are not interested in exchange of ideas or alternative ideas. What they are interested in is their opinion coming out of your mouth. Oh. And if you can get an audience and figure out and gel together their thoughts and ideas and spit it back at them, you too can be president. You can get people to give you money. It doesn't matter if any of it's true. And they don't care if it's true. They just want their thoughts and feelings to be validated. And it makes it hard for people who are thinkers. It makes it hard for people who are interested in truth and good ideas and to fix things to get anywhere in this world. It makes you not want to leave your house. Because why? Linking this back to the Lois Lane book, she's trying so hard to do the right thing, and she's just like, I'm beset on all sides by idiots or witches. She can't fucking catch a break. It's one of the few times in the book I feel sympathy for her.
Okay. Well, speaking of sympathy, I mean, her dad died. At this issue 6, where they kind of throw us into the funeral, I just kind of want to get your idea of, we definitely get some backstory that's fleshed out between her father, and I assume some of these.
Hey, I'm sure Clark's a nice guy, but maybe don't fuck the alien.
I have a feeling that her dad, clearly being a military man, was quite conservative, and she was the punk rock kid going out there bucking the system.
Just imagine Kira comes home one day and she's just like, "Dad, I'm in love," and you as a father are just like, "Hey, slow down. maybe don't accept everything this person's telling you. He seems great now, but maybe give this some time. Just go slow here. Don't throw all in. And in this particular case, it's an invulnerable alien. I'm on the dad's side because here's the thing. He's painted as a villain because Superman is next to godliness. Superman is all Kansas and Smallville, good guy. He is Nancy Reagan and apple pie. We know that as an audience, but if you don't know that, imagine your daughter comes home one day and says, I want to marry this alien from another world who grew up in Kansas. I don't know about that kid. I mean,
this guy's number one, he's a military man. He's thinking about security of the United States.
Right.
An alien just dropped in here who could do just about anything. I'm sure that her father, I didn't get his name, definitely identifies with Lex's.
That's why I was always so sympathetic with Batman's point of view. He was just like, could we plan for the day that this motherfucker loses his mind?
Right. Because there's the possibility that could happen. We are I was picking up those vibes. I mean, this not only that, as a military man for his country, his state and country, he's also a father.
So my God, Samuel L. Jackson's line from the Avengers when he's talking to Loki, he's like, do I make you nervous? He's just, yes. Gods are destroying cities on Earth. Yes, you're making us nervous.
Just a little bit. But so they obviously had a strained relationship, and apparently in this event, Leviathan, he was part of that, ends up getting killed. And I think there was a weird situation, a weird interaction where they folded up the flag and tried to give it to her, and she wouldn't take it because
then later on, her sister's yelling at her, "Why do you have to make something about you?"
Right, and I think her explanation was he would never forgive me if I did that or something along those lines. And there was flashbacks where she was trying to it was more along the lines of the father was trying to reconcile with her. They clearly butted heads, but I think the last flashback she had, he's I'm trying here. I'm trying to see it your way, which is it was a departure from the main story, clearly, because we had to wrap something up that happened in an event. But I think that story in issue 6 was definitely moving to watch her try to deal with her father's death and all the shit that came with her being involved with Superman that definitely butted heads with what her father wanted. So that was good. All right. And the only other thing that I kind of had here, we definitely get some more stuff on Jessica Midnight. We got the supernatural stuff that's kind of happening.
It's the least interesting part of the book for me. It's not going to care less.
I've got to talk a little bit about it, though. Okay. All right. Well, how about this? Renee Montoya, last thing, and then we'll move on. We'll get out of here and we'll get to the next episode. Renee Montoya, all right, follows this guy, this Mr. Blakely, finds out about the guy who hired to kill Daniel Agger, but coerces a confession out of him, records it, and tries to give it off to Lois. And she's like, I can't do anything with this. I can't do a thing with it.
I can't go in there. That's the men's room.
She couldn't do a thing with it. Again, showing the integrity of Lois Lane, even though she knows who her potential killer, the killer of Daniel Agger is now. Integrity says that she can't use whatever Montoya coerced out of this guy against him or report it or do anything with it, nor does she know if she can believe it or not. So it kind of strains that relationship because Renee Montoya is a big factor in this book. It's Lois Lane, Renee Montoya working together. So, and I think that's really all I have. Don't have anything else. So, all right, let's go ahead and get on out of here. That was issues 5 through 8 of Lois Lane. Mark Radulich, you want to plug some stuff?
I'm at Mark Radulich on TikTok. I'm Markine76 on Instagram. My stuff, Jesse's stuff, your stuff, our stuff is all on W2Mnet.com, W2M Network on YouTube, W2M Network on Twitch, W2M Network on X. We have a Facebook page. All the Radulich and Broadcasting stuff has a Facebook page. So that's where you can find. Now, we are available as the Radulich and Broadcasting Network on all your favorite audio podcast things, Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or wherever you download podcasts. Just look up Radulich and Broadcasting Network and you will see our stuff.
All right, very good. You can check out the plugs I throw in here at the end. I appreciate y'all joining us. That's Mark Radulich. I'm Jesse Starcher. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. All of this would not be possible without W2Mnet.com, so make sure to seek them out for more podcasts. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please feel free to share, and we look forward to entertaining you again soon.